What is up, everybody? My name is Whooped. I have an awesome video to show you today. I'm taking a look at one of your games and grading it with brutal honesty, just like I do at the end of my own games. We're going to watch Cheese's replay. He's 1450 MMR. At the end of the match, we're going to assign him a grade ranging from F to A+, based on a 1450 MMR range, and match it to the grade he gave himself to determine whether he's grounded in reality or off in the clouds. I also gave the replay to my boy Roxas and asked him to assign a grade as well. All grades will be shown at the end of the match, and we do not know each other's grades prior to giving our own. Big shout out to our newest channel member, the Earl of Bronze. Thank you so much, man, for your support. So our boy Cheese is Quick Supply Specialist with spiders and crawlers, and his opponent, Blue Gary, is Amplify with Sabertooth and Arc Lights, and he chose Fangs. Oh wow, okay. So right away, Cheese is going Quick Supply Spiders, right? Into Sabertooth though? That is a little questionable, sir. It's a bold move, Cotton.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
I also think these are a little bit too close. They could probably be spaced out a little bit more. Yeah, the Sabertooth are really strong. Hold on. Wait a second. Your opponent didn't give Amplify to his Sabers. What? Also, I'd just like to point out your crawlers right here. The reason you put them behind the tower is because you want a split. And with your crawlers being right here, they didn't split. They just went this way, like that. And so I'd say, you know, if you're going to put them vertical, they're a little susceptible to like an arc light over here. But if you're going to do it, it is what it is. But put it close, you know, closer to the tower. That way you at least get the split if they don't flank you. Elite Fangs? Wait, what? Elite Fangs and mass-produced sledgehammers. Okay. So your opponent finally gave Amplify to his Sabers. And he took Elite Fangs. I have no idea why he took Elite Fangs. Oh no. And then you took mass-produced sledgehammers. That is so interesting. I'm not going to dock points for it because I think it's like kind of cool, actually. And his arc lights are going to have a heck of a time killing them too. And you put them vertical, which I think is really good because they're going to be better at clearing chaff vertically than they would horizontal. And the tanks are only going to be able to kill one at a time. The Sabers will. I have no idea why. And your opponent didn't give the Amplify to his third Saber, by the way, which is so weird. I have no idea why he went Elite Fangs. That is so crazy to me. Now, the thing that you have to watch out for, though, is that your spiders have 75 range and your sledgehammers have 95. So you're going to have to put a rush on range for spiders, like stat, if you want them to be your carry. But going Elite Fangs is the weirdest decision because they're just going to give your spiders extra XP. And that is not something that you want to do when you have the advantage, especially. Good job winning this round. Alright, I want to see Underground Threat. Well, I guess you're down here. I want to see Underground Threat for you. And then your opponent can choose Nano. Yeah, so Underground Threat for you and your opponent choose Nano, I think would be best. Because if he had 4 Sabers, 3 of them with Amplify and 1 of them with Nano, that is absolutely crazy. Okay, so you chose Nano, actually. I don't think that's the best decision because his Sabers are going to do about 9,000 damage with Amplify. Let's see, what are they at? Yeah, so his level 1 Sabers do 8846 with Amplify. And your spiders have 15,000 health, which means it 2-shots you regardless, whether you have Nano or not. And so I don't think Nano was the best decision. And then the other thing I'll say to that is, if you didn't go Nano, let's say you went Underground Threat or skipped, you would have been able to get range, and you would still be able to have 2 deployments. But since you got Nano, you can no longer afford range plus 2 deployments. I see that you are flanking though. You're setting up the old C90, the crawler 90-degree flank right here. At least I'm assuming that's what you're doing. Now that's an interesting flank because let's say you do bring it this way and his troops go that way. You're kind of in the middle focused. So it might be a situation where he's fighting you like right here and his tower's in the middle. The other thing about Nano is you gave it to this tarantula, but this one's actually the closest to leveling up. And so I would have gave it to your inside tarantula. Like this one already leveled up, so he would have nano for next round, so he'd be a level 2. Whereas this one might level up, but it might not. He's also closest to his outside sabers, which you don't want. Yeah, so it looks like your nano is actually, it's going to be close. But the inside one leveled up for sure, and you're going to get more value out of a level 2 saber, excuse me, a level 2 tarantula with nano than you would at level 1. Oh man, it just got launched. It got annihilated. Holy. Ooh, that tower timing was nice. Tower timing was absolutely nice because it saved this spider, and because this one's alive, he's going to take this tower, which is going to save this spider. Beautiful tower timings. Because this easily could have gone his way with the level 2 Sabertooth. Oof. I think Mustangs would be good here because you're super weak to Phoenix, super weak to Wasps. Just air in general. You're exceptionally weak to like Rays and Armored Race. So I think Mustangs are good here. You're still susceptible to like level 2 Armored Rays and Race, but you know, it does fix the Wasp problem, at least sort of. The other thing I say about this is you're probably going to want it a little bit wider because what he could do is he could place one of the Phoenix you got from the drop or Wasp. He can place it over here and just mobile beacon it in and take this tower and then continue it on and take this one. It's, you know, essentially a free round. But overall, I do like the fact that you took the Mustangs. Now, your opponent took Mustangs too and ranged them. Instead of ranging his Sabertooth, he took Mustangs and ranged them. But he has Elite Fangs already with no range. So, I think your opponent is a little confused. I think getting range on the Sabertooth is super important because that would put him up to 135 range, which would outrange your tarantulas at 115. That's your missile. So I'd say don't missile here. And the reason is because, one, these fangs are not at all a threat to you. You have 4 spiders here. 2 of them would have killed these so fast. But also, those are level 3 fangs that are no threat, which means your spiders are just going to gain that much more XP. You know what I mean? Like this one on the left leveled up. He went against the fangs. This one on the right with nano still didn't level up yet. Well, he just did. But your level 2 would have had more XP. Like, it's just free XP basically, and you missiled it out. So not only did you lose out on the XP, but you also lost out on the resources because that cost you 50. But I mean, it's a dominating win regardless. Orbital for sure. Both of you. Your opponent skips. Wait, your opponent has 1600 health and he skipped instead of taking orbital? That is crazy. So he might be thinking like spiders are just too OP to orbital, I guess. I don't know. But he put down level 3 fangs that are unteched. Oh no. Alright, so I would say put the orbital on this side because you have crawlers right here. And so what's going to happen are these are going to get pulled, right? They're going to go this way. And so you're basically pulling units outside of your orbital. So you either sell this or you put it on the other side. So I want to see a couple shields from you as well. So a shield here and shield here for your Mustangs. And then I would love to see field maintenance on your sledges. So I would say don't do it here. Instead, just move them back to right there. Now, if you're playing more aggro or smothering, then yes, this would be good. But you're kind of really far back and you don't have any of your DPS units on this side either, right? All your DPS is in the middle. So I'd say definitely move it up. I don't think upgrading your sledgehammer to level 2, right? These 2 are worth 2 shields. I think you should have put 2 shields here. Because your opponent didn't orbital for some weird reason, but he definitely should have. Because you have mass-produced sledgehammers too. It's not even like they're the full thing. This is going to be an absolute slaughter though. Not shielding from your opponent's side too is just choosing the elite fangs and not shielding. That's just too much to overcome. And not getting saber range. I think your opponent is off in the clouds. Respectfully.
Respectfully.
And that is game. So I took over your opponent on round 4. I selected one of the Phoenix from the drop down, and then I put it in your flank, and I just mobile beaconed it to kill this tower, and then mobile beaconed it to kill this one. And then I gave the sabers range, and it worked. You won the round, or he won the round, excuse me. And then I took over your opponent again on round 5. And this time I used orbital. I orbitaled your center, and then I missiled out a couple of your sledgehammers, and I gave the sabers range, and I won the round. And then I did it again. I played a second time on round 5. This time I threw down oil in the middle, and then I orbitaled. I didn't missil out any of your sledges, and I won that round as well. And that one was even worse than the first one. So we're going to get to the grade reveals in a second. I'm just going to go over my thought process real quick. I'm not going to knock you for going spiders and the sabers because that's something that I would do. But honestly, neither one of us should do that. The thing is, I like that you had a plan and that you followed through with the plan, and you adjusted your plan on the fly too by picking up the mass produced card. So you were okay on chaff, albeit unorthodox, and you're okay on chaff clear. Having spiders as your carry, probably not the strongest unit, especially because they don't have AP bullets. You know, the second thing you had was mechanical rage. Your sledges were a little bit exposed, you know, even if you had just 2 things of chaff to soak up some missiles, because if your opponent wanted to, he could have missiled out every single one of your sledges. Not shielding against an orbital, I think, is a pretty big mistake. And if your thought process was you have sledges and spiders, it shouldn't matter much. Just remember, I took over your opponent twice. Both times I orbitaled and both times I won. Your crawlers also moved his units outside of the orbital. I think your positioning was off in a few different places. You know, you didn't protect the flank nearly enough. You know, your chaff is susceptible to flank aggro. You weren't getting the splits. Your spiders were really close, and I don't even know what to say about the sledges. I like them though, so I'll just leave them be. For an X Factor rating, I'm going to give you extra points because I really like that you had a vision and that you carried out that vision. I'm not entirely sure what he was doing with his fangs, not getting range on his sabers, not orbitaling, not shielding, but it's not your problem. You know, you worked with what you had and you absolutely dominated. So I respect that. With all that said, based on a 1450 MMR range, Roxas gave you a C+, you gave yourself a C, and the grade I'm giving you is a C+. There were a lot of mistakes, but there weren't any major mistakes outside of picking spiders and the sabers, but we don't really have to talk about that. Ultimately, Roxas and I both felt like you had a plan, you executed that plan, and you absolutely dominated your opponent from start to finish. It was awesome to watch. Thank you so much for submitting the replay. Let me know in the comments what you think Cheese's grade should be, and if you would like to have your replay graded with brutal honesty, you can do so by filling out the form found in the description. If you enjoyed the content, consider liking, subscribing, or joining the channel as a member. I'm Whooped. Thanks for watching.
This is Mechabellum, and it's going down. Whooped, got it popping round.